Good morning, dear cadets. In the last video, we have studied about the conservation of angular momentum. Today, we will discuss more about conservation of angular momentum and some examples. When an external torque acting on a rotating body is zero, if there is no external torque acting on the rotating body, then the body continues to rotate with constant angular momentum. The angular momentum of the body remains conserved. Angular momentum of the body remains conserved means L vector, angular momentum of the rotating body, is constant. L is given by two quantities, that is moment of inertia and angular momentum. L is product of I omega. L is product of moment of inertia and angular velocity. By chance, if there is a change in moment of inertia, there is a corresponding change in angular velocity. As a result, the product I omega should remain constant. So, the very good example for this conservation of angular momentum is, as I told you earlier also. So, there is a demo swivel chair is there in our science park. There you are supposed to sit in the central chair and there are two heavy weights. You have to take the help of your friend. If you ask your friend to rotate, initially suppose those weights are close to your body. When the weights are close to your body, when you set that chair into rotation, one fellow should be sitting on the chair and you have to take the help of other friend. Then when you set it into rotation, it spins with some speed. As you push those weights away from you, if you push those weights away from you, then the speed of that rotating chair decreases. Slowly it comes to halt. So this is what is the conservation of angular momentum. When the weights are very close to your body, then the moment of inertia is reduced. Angular velocity increases. But on the other hand, when you push those weights away from your body, moment of inertia increases, angular velocity decreases. As a result, you should note that the product I omega remains constant. This is what we see on a swivel chair. Swivel. Swivel chair means turntable, rotating chair, right? Similarly, you must have observed ice skating, and there are experts. While doing the ice skating, they will show their dancing techniques, dancing talent. When they start spinning around themselves, you might have observed they bring their hands close to their body and they will be spinning on single leg. One leg will be very close to the body. As a result, their body turns with a very high speed. If he or she wants to reduce the speed, then slowly he or she will stretch the hand and leg. When hand and legs are stretched apart, then moment of inertia increases, angular speed of rotation decreases. This is in accordance with conservation of angular momentum. Same thing you might have observed, the somersault jumps in the swimming. You must have observed several events of swimming, of jumping events into the swimming pool from a very great height. When they jump from a tall height, you see, if they want to have somersault, they will bring their hands and legs close to their center of gravity, close to their body during their jump. When they take the jump, suddenly after a moment, they bring their hands and legs close to their center of gravity, to their body. As a result, they will have more and more somersaults, more and more turnings before they touch the water surface. Just a moment before they touch the water surface, they stretch their hands and legs apart. when they stretch their hands and legs straight, then what happens? Their rotational speed decreases as a result of increase in moment of inertia, and then they will have a perfect dive inside the body. This you must have observed. If you have not observed, please observe and understand the concept of conservation of angular momentum, concept of center of gravity, concept of angular velocity, concept of moment of inertia. All these things you will be able to follow. Similarly, in the acrobats, you must have observed. The acrobats, some of you are very good in acrobatics, right? So when you are jumping, if hands and legs are close to your body, you will have more and more jumps in the air. That is what we call it as somersaults. And in the National Geographics, in the evening they will show a program, Science of Stupidity. Please watch it. You will learn a lot of physics, lot of meaning of center of gravity, meaning of the moment of inertia, meaning of angular velocity. All these things you will come to know. Meaning of the Newton's laws, applications and all, you will come to know if you observe that Science of Stupidity. Science of Stupidity in National Geographic. Very nicely it will be explained with live or recorded videos. Okay. Now, the meaning of conservation of angular momentum, right here, L is equal to I omega. If I is changing from I1 to I2, then it becomes I1 omega 1 must be equal to I2 omega 2. So this is the meaning of conservation of angular momentum. Let us see one example which is based on conservation of angular momentum. A child stands at the center of a turntable with his two arms outstretched. A child stands at the center of a turntable. The table is capable of rotating. Turntable means we can assume that it is having a platform which is capable of rotating, just like a swivel chair, with his two arms outstretched. The turntable is set rotating with an angular speed of 40 revolutions per minute. It is set into rotation with an angular speed of 40 revolutions per minute. How much is the angular speed of the child if he folds his hands back? If he folds his hand back and thereby reduces moment of inertia 2 by 5 times the initial value. Right? How much is the angular speed of the child when the child brings back his hands close to, brings back to his body, and as a result moment of inertia decreases. Moment of inertia decreases 2 by 5 times the initial value when the child has stretched his hands. Assume that the turntable rotates without friction. Simple. Right? This is the first part of the numerical problem. And show that the child's new kinetic energy, as a result of bringing the hands back to his body, new kinetic energy of rotation is more than the initial kinetic energy. How do you account for this increase in kinetic energy? This is what we are going to see. Here we are applying conservation of angular momentum. Conservation of angular momentum. This is what we are doing. Conservation. Let us suppose I1 is the moment of inertia when the child has stretched his arms, and omega 1 is the angular speed which is given by 40 revolutions per minute. The moment the child folds his hands back, the moment the child folds his hands back, moment of inertia becomes I2. I2 is 2 by 5 times the initial value I1. This is given. Here I2 is equal to 2 by 5 times I1. Then what is the angular speed of the child? Now you are asked to calculate what is the angular speed of the child. Just substitute here the angular momentum remains conserved. Conservation of angular momentum is applied. Right? When you calculate this, you get an interesting result. So if you just substitute this value is here omega 1 is actually given by 2 pi times the this is actually frequency, 2 pi times the frequency nu. So it becomes 2 pi, you can take 2 pi nu 1, that is 40 revolutions per minute. 40 revolutions per minute. If you just substitute as it is, I2 is given and I1 is related with I2 by this equation. You can calculate what is omega 2, what is the value of omega 2. This is the question. Substitute in this equation. So by substituting I1 omega 1 is 2 pi times 40 revolutions per minute is equal to I2 is 2 pi by 5 times I1 is given into omega 2 is 2 pi Newton. So directly he has asked to calculate omega 2. So we can calculate omega 2. First we will calculate this interesting frequency. So 2 pi cancels. So I1 also cancels. So definitely we can calculate what is Newton. Therefore, revolutions per minute. How many revolutions per minute? That is frequency. New frequency. Now it is between nu2 is equal to, take this 5 by 2 this side. So it becomes 5 by 2 times 40 revolutions per minute. So 5 ones are 2 ones are 2 20s are. So it becomes 100 revolutions per minute. You can see the difference. 100 revolutions per minute. From 40 revolutions, it is increasing to 100 revolutions per minute. This is frequency. Now we can calculate what is angular speed, new angular speed. New angular speed, omega 2 is equal to 2 pi mu2. That is 2 pi into 100 revolutions per minute. Per minute you convert it into seconds because you have to express in SI unit. So seconds, 60 seconds. So 0 cancels. So you are left with 2 ones are 2 threes are 10 pi by 3. Omega 2 is equal to 10 pi by 3 radian per second. What about omega 1 then? Omega 1 can also be calculated. Omega 1 is equal to 2 pi into 40. 2 pi into 40 revolutions per minute. So convert it into seconds. So if you cancel this, 2 ones are 2 threes are. So it becomes 4 pi by 3 radians per second. So the angular speed increases from 4 pi by 3 radians per second to 10 pi by 3 radians per second. Then definitely we can check there is going to be increase in kinetic energy. That is second part. Let us calculate the kinetic energy, increase in kinetic energy. Now let us calculate the change in kinetic energy. You know, initial rotational kinetic energy is half I1 omega 1 square. Final kinetic energy is half I2 omega 2 square. Okay, according to the values of I1 and I2. We can substitute the value of I1 and I2. Before that, you can take the ratio K2 by K1. K2 by K1. So half cancels. You are left with I2 omega 2 square divided by I1 omega 1 square. So I2, if you substitute, we know I2 we know I2 also, we know values of omega also, we can just calculate. Or you can calculate by another method. We know that I1 omega 1 is equal to I2 omega 2. So I2 omega 2 we can write directly divided by I1 omega 1 into omega 2 divided by into omega 1. So you see from the conservation of angular momentum. So this can be written as I2 omega 2 into omega 2. I1 omega 1 into omega 1, half cancels. So if you just express it, we know by conservation of angular momentum, L is equal to I1 omega 1 is equal to I2 omega 2. So these two things cancel. So you are left with omega 2 by omega 1. So definitely omega 2 is greater than omega 1. So definitely K2 is greater than K1. Since omega 2 is greater than omega 1, therefore K2 is greater than K1. How is omega 2 greater than omega 1? Look at this. When the moment of inertia is decreased, when there is a decrease of moment of inertia, there is increase of angular velocity. Because we know that I1 omega 1 is equal to I2 omega 2. When I1 is less than, if I1 is less than, okay, I2 is reduced. If I2 is less than I1, if I2 is less than I1, then omega 2, the product must be constant. This implies omega 2 must be greater than omega 1. So when omega 2 is greater than omega 1, definitely K2 is greater than K1. This is how we account for increase in kinetic energy. Therefore, there is increase in kinetic energy. You can calculate how much is the increase in kinetic energy. K2 by K1 is equal to, directly substitute the values of omega 2 and omega 1 in terms of rotations per minute. Directly you can substitute 100 rotations per minute divided by 40 revolutions per minute. If you cancel this, so it comes out to be 5 by 2 times. Therefore, K2 is equal to 5 by 2 times K1. So this is how we get the relation between kinetic energies, right? So when we reduce the moment of inertia, angular velocity increases. That is because of conservation of angular momentum. I think you got the point. Application of conservation of angular momentum. Okay. Let us see another problem. A rope of negligible mass. A rope of negligible mass is wound around a hollow cylinder of mass 3 kg. There is a hollow cylinder of mass 3 kg. A rope is wound around this, and radius of this cylinder is 40 centimeter. What is the angular acceleration of the cylinder if the rope is pulled with a force of 30 Newton? If this rope is pulled with a force of 30 Newton, what is the angular acceleration of the cylinder? Initially, before pulling, the cylinder is at rest, and the moment you pull it, it will be exerted by a torque, tangential torque. As a result of tangential torque, the cylinder starts rotating in this way. Okay. So what is the angular acceleration of the torque? Angular acceleration of the cylinder. What is the linear acceleration of the rope? When you pull it with 30 Newton force, what is the linear acceleration of the rope? There are two parts in this. Okay. Let us solve the first part. So first part, in order to rotate this, the rotational motion is set by torque. So we will have to calculate what is the torque. Now torque exerted. First part, torque exerted on the hollow cylinder. Torque tau is equal to R cross F. Since the force is tangential, you can see the force is tangential and radius is perpendicular to the radius is, you have to take this radius, right? You have to take this radius. Otherwise, if you see from the top if you see, it appears like this. So this is the way the rope is pulled, and this is the radius of the cylinder, and this is the force. As a result, the angle between the radius and the force is 90 degree. So torque is calculated as Rf sin 90. Sin 90 is 1, where R is the radius. So radius is given 40 centimeter. 40 centimeter calculated as 0.4 meter. 0.4 meter. So 40 centimeter, 0.4 meter into force 30 meter. So this gives us the torque. Torque is equal to, so the decimal cancels with 0. So you are left with 12 Newton meter is the torque. 12 joule or 12 Newton meter. Now once you calculate the torque, we know the moment of inertia of a hollow cylinder. Standard equation. You can calculate for angular acceleration. Torque exerted is also given by I alpha, where I is the moment of inertia. Moment of inertia of hollow cylinder. Moment of inertia of hollow cylinder is mr square. Remember, it's very easy to remember. Moment of inertia of hollow cylinder of mass m and radius r is same as moment of inertia of a ring of mass m and radius r. Both are mr square. Even the disc also, if it is a disc of radius r and mass m, then moment of inertia is given by mr square about an axis passing through its center. If it is a solid cylinder, then moment of inertia of a solid cylinder is same as that of the moment of inertia of the disc. It is also mr square by 2 if it is a solid cylinder. Okay, I is equal to mr square. Now substitute these values. So first let us calculate what is mr square, or you can directly calculate. Therefore, we know already torque, you can calculate mr square. So alpha is equal to torque 2 by I. Moment of inertia divided torque divided by moment of inertia. Torque is already calculated, 12 Newton meter divided by mr square. Mr square, you can write one more equation, one more step. 2 divided by mr square, moment of inertia of the hollow cylinder. So 2 is 12, m is mass of the cylinder. Mass of the cylinder is 3 kg into 0.4 into 0.4. So if you cancel it, 3 ones are 3 fours are, so it becomes 40. 40 divided by 4. 40 divided by 4 becomes 10. 10 divided by 0.4. So 10 divided by 0.4 becomes 100 divided by 4. 100 divided by 4 is equal to 25. Therefore, angular acceleration of the hollow cylinder alpha is equal to 25 radians per second square. Please remember the SI, radians per second square. So we got the angular acceleration. The next part is, what is the linear acceleration of the rope? Linear acceleration of the rope is equal to the linear velocity, rate of change of linear velocity. Rate of change of linear velocity. Okay, I will write this is first part. Second part I will write in the next part, in the next board. We have linear velocity. We have linear velocity. V equal to r omega. If we differentiate this, we will get linear acceleration. Differentiate with respect to time t. Then we get dv by dt. Linear acceleration A equal to dv by dt. That is equal to r is constant. Radius of the cylinder is constant. So r into d omega by dt. Rate of change of angular velocity. Rate of change of angular velocity is nothing but alpha, which just now we have calculated. Therefore, we get r into alpha, because alpha is equal to d omega by dt. D omega by dt. Therefore, A is equal to r alpha. A is equal to r alpha. So just substitute what is the value of r. Radius is 0.4. and alpha is 25 radians per second square. 25 radians per second square. So if you multiply this, you are getting 10. Right? 24, 5 4s are 100. 100 divided by 10 is 10. 10 meter per second square. This is the linear acceleration. So this is another relation between linear acceleration and the angular acceleration. Linear velocity, angular velocity. Linear acceleration, angular acceleration. So this problem gives you one more knowledge that linear acceleration is equal to radius times the angular acceleration, or angular acceleration is equal to linear acceleration divided by radius. Okay. Now let us solve one more problem. So look at this problem. Torques of equal magnitude are applied to a hollow cylinder and a solid sphere, both having same mass and radius. One is a hollow cylinder, another one is a solid sphere. Both are of same mass, solid sphere. Okay. Both are capable of rotating about their standard axis. This sphere is of mass m and radius r, and hollow cylinder is also of mass m and radius, same radius r. Okay. Then they are capable of rotating about their standard axis of rotation. Both are being applied with same torque to rotate. When they are applied with same torque to rotate, then which of the two will acquire greater speed at a given time? Which one will acquire greater speed? Means this problem is very simple. You should have a basic concept. We know that torque tau is given by moment of inertia into angular acceleration. Torque tau is equal to moment of inertia into angular acceleration. So if you use this equation, torque is directly proportional to moment of inertia, and based on that we have the angular acceleration. But here same torques are acting on both. Torque acting on sphere as well as cylinder are same. So let us say torque tau 1 is equal to tau 2. Torque tau 1 is the torque acting on a hollow cylinder, so that I can write what is the equation for hollow cylinder. So let me write it as I1 alpha 1, where I1 and alpha 1 correspond to moment of inertia and angular acceleration of the hollow cylinder, and I2 and alpha 2 are the moment of inertia of sphere and angular acceleration of sphere. Here I can write I1 is equal to mr square. What is this mr square? Moment of inertia of hollow cylinder. Moment of inertia of hollow cylinder. And I2 equal to, for solid sphere, this is a solid sphere, moment of inertia of a solid sphere we know from the standard equation 2 by 5 mr square. 2 by 5 mr square. So once you write the equations for moment of inertia, you will get the idea. Definitely the one which is having less moment of inertia, it will have more angular acceleration, it will gain more speed. That's it. So if you take the ratio of I1 by I2, or let us say I2 by I1, let us say I2 by I1. I2 by I1 is equal to alpha 1 by alpha 2. Alpha 1 by I2 is less than I1. Definitely 2 by 5 is 0.4. 0.4 mr square is definitely less than mr square. So I can write this I2 as 0.4 mr square divided by mr square is equal to alpha 1. Alpha 1 is the angular acceleration. Angular acceleration is nothing but final angular velocity minus initial angular velocity divided by time. Before setting them into rotation, let us say that they are at rest. So I will write it as omega 1 minus 0, omega 1 minus 0 divided by t. Timing is same, omega 1 minus 0 divided by t, that is alpha 1. Similarly, omega 2 minus 0 divided by t, time taken is same, so dt cancels. So it becomes omega 1 by omega 2. Omega 1 by omega 2. So we can calculate what is omega 1 and what is omega 2. So mr square cancels. Therefore, omega 1 by omega 2 is equal to 0.4. Therefore, omega 2, that's of sphere, angular velocity of sphere. Omega 2 is omega 1 divided by 0.4. So it becomes 10 by 4. 10 by 4 means 5 by 10 by 4. That is 5 by 2. 5 by 2 times omega 1. So omega 2 is greater than omega 1. Angular speed of solid sphere is greater than angular speed of hollow sphere. So angular speed of solid sphere is greater than angular speed of hollow, angular speed of hollow cylinder. I think you have got that point here. The reason is the one which has more moment of inertia ultimately will rotate with lesser speed. The one with less moment of inertia ultimately will rotate with higher speed. So based on this concept, there are several questions. Like you are given two eggs. One is a hard boiled egg, another one is raw egg. When you set them rotating with the same torque on the table surface, which one will come to halt immediately? Which one will rotate faster and which one takes lesser time to come to halt? Which one comes to halt immediately? If you do this experiment, interestingly, the raw egg comes to halt immediately. Boiled egg takes more time, it spins with more speed and comes to halt slowly. What is the reason? In the case of hollow egg, I mean in the case of not hollow, in the case of raw egg, since it is consisting of fluid, when you set into rotation, the fluid moves away from the axis of rotation. When the egg is set into rotation, like this, the fluid that is there inside this egg will be moving away from the axis of rotation. When the fluid starts moving away from the axis of rotation, then its moment of inertia increases. When the moment of inertia increases, its angular speed, the speed of rotation, decreases and it comes to halt immediately. Whereas in case of a hard boiled egg, it's totally solid. Already it is boiled and it's solid egg. When you set it for spinning with the same amount of torque, you will see that it continues to rotate for a longer period of time, because the hard boiled egg has less moment of inertia, because the mass is almost uniformly distributed. So its moment of inertia is less than that of hard boiled egg. Therefore, the boiled egg turns with more speed and it spins for a longer duration of time, because mass is almost uniformly distributed. Whereas in case of raw boiled egg, the mass is distributed away from the axis of rotation when it is set into rotation. So like that, you will be able to answer this kind of conceptual problems. So go through different types of conceptual problems, and this topic of rotational motion and system of particles is coming to an end. So please solve many problems from this topic and ask the doubts, so that the next video onwards we will start with gravitation. Thank you. Have a nice day.